are you if you, just like me, have a partner who does not speak your native language and they want to learn. Let's say that maybe your partner speaks a very universal language, if you will, such as English, which most people know, but Swedish, like in my case, not a lot of people speak it. It's a very small language from a small country, so it's not necessarily super important that Nick learn this, but, you know, let's say that we have kids one day. You don't want them to, you know, talk shit behind your back, do you? Or what if we move there one day? Then it's a really good thing to know. Not to say that Swedes don't know English. In fact, most Swedes speak really good English, but for some reason, and don't get me started on this, it's so annoying. I don't know why, but in Sweden, you are going to have a hard time finding a job if you don't speak at least basic Swedish. I don't know why. Like, when most people there understand and speak English just fine, and they love English, like, Swedes love English, we just do. I've always loved it. They still have a hard time finding a job if they don't speak basic Swedish, at least. So that's also a reason for him wanting to learn it. So these are my 7 ways that I have gone about teaching my American husband Swedish. The first one's quite obvious. This is something that most people do, which is to download an app on their phone. Ours was Duolingo. It's a very popular one. You can learn a bunch of different languages there, but I thought that was a good start for me and Nick. We would just lay in bed, scroll in the app, and go through it together, and we would laugh, and, you know, I would help correct him and all that. And I think it was a good way to get going with simple phrases and words. But you can go, like, super advanced on this app, and I do think we should go back to doing it because it was really helpful. Our second way is that in our old bedroom, we used to have a big whiteboard. We still have it, I just don't know where to fit it in this room and put it, but I used to write words and phrases in Swedish and the translation in English, and then I would have him practice that for a week. Then I would do a quiz, just like in school, because repetition helps, right? And it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to, like, be the teacher and he had to be the student, and I had to, like, go through the quiz afterwards and correct him and, you know, help him with what words he needed to learn for next time and practice more on. And I know Nick got really frustrated at times when he got something wrong. He got mad at himself, but I told him, I was like, then we know what you need to practice that more. So here's what a typical quiz could look like, and we still do this. So it's like, here I said, like, orange, then he has to write apelsin in Swedish, and then I have an orange, then he has to write jag har en apelsin in Swedish. It goes down to all the different themes. I would usually have a theme like fruits or different holidays or family or friends or things that we do. It's quite fun, really, and I got inspired because my aunt gave Nick a book that was called Swedish for Beginners or Dummies. I think it was Swedish for Beginners. I can link it down below if you want to get it. I think it was super helpful. It had a lot of phrases in it and all that, and different themes, so I kind of stole those and put them on the whiteboard. My third tip is actually something that we haven't started with yet, but I love the idea and I really want to get going with it soon. This is something that I think is helpful to do once your partner has kind of come certain, you know, ways forward with the language. Like they you know, can't be fluent in it really, but they know some phrases and some words. They're starting to pick up on things just by hearing Swedish. And so I know some people do Swedish day, where they only speak Swedish to their partner all day. For me, I think this is a little bit too advanced and it sounds kind of exhausting to like have to translate all the time. So I was thinking we can do Swedish hour, where for 1 hour, whatever I tell him, it has to be in Swedish and he has to just figure it out. I love that. Going to Sweden to visit. Nick has been to Sweden 3 times? Is it 3 times? I think so. And that's really helped him the most. He picks up so much Swedish when he's there visiting. The way that my, you know, family speaks and our friends speak, he just learns the way, like, I guess he has like an ear for it. He's very good at doing impressions. He says a lot of oi oi oi, oi oi oi, because he thinks it's so funny when us Swedes say oi oi oi, oi 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 oi. So he likes to do impressions of Swedish, you know, in the language, and he learns the pronunciation that way. Maybe he doesn't always know what the words mean, but it definitely helps. So if you want to learn a language, definitely go to the country and just listen. You know, try to engage in conversations, try to put funny sentences together. Like, it doesn't have to be serious. When Nick went to Sweden for the first time, he didn't know a lot of words, and so he just put the sentence together, which was skit på dig ostronstopp, which basically means shit your pants, oyster, stop. And it made my family laugh, and so that's how he picked up on it. He you know, it just, he knew what it meant, and he knew it was silly, and you just gotta go with it, and that's how you learn, by having a good time and having a fun time with it. I think there's this pressure on grown-ups that we need to learn new languages by just sitting in school, you know, taking a class, learning by reading books, and you know, just it's so boring. Like, you want to have fun with it, right? So what I realized is that there's a ton of websites for kids who want to learn Swedish, and Nick is on a kid's level of speaking Swedish, so why can't we incorporate this? So I went to these websites, and I'll link them down below. I think there's at least one that I can link that has a lot of really good material. There's this lady who creates amazing things like books and art and crafts and stuff, games that only cost a few dollars. Some are even for free, and she does it based on themes like Halloween or winter or Christmas or Easter, or you know, everything that has to do with Swedish. And then you print them out, you can fill them out. Speaking of that, I found the book that my aunt gave Nick, Svenska för nybörjare by Alva Oxlin. So if you ever want to get this, you can. And it's got really good things in it, like all of these words, phrases, exercises that your partner can do. So the website that I print stuff out from is swinglish.life. And so I'm going to quickly just show you, you know, I don't want to throw everything out there because that's not right. You know, this is her copyright stuff. Basically, it says midsummer at the top, and then there's all these words that have to do with midsummer. So in Swedish, so then you have to write the Swedish words after this, which helps you memorize them, right? And she also has this memory game, which actually several of them, and we absolutely love these. This has been like a great way for him to learn Swedish. All these little Swedish things, and basically you gotta find the Swedish word and you gotta find the English word for it. So some words are the same, like troll and troll. That's the same thing. But for example, kräftskiva, that's crayfish party, a very Swedish thing that we do in August every single year. That's there too. I love it. It's so fun, and it keeps things creative and entertaining for Nick. It's not boring, you know, you can have a few drinks and play memory. So if your partner is not learning Swedish but a different language, then I highly recommend trying to find kids' websites where they teach this sort of stuff. If your partner is more of a visual learner, then that's the perfect excuse to put little sticky notes all around the house, or just put a piece of tape and, you know, cut out some pieces of paper and write what those things are called in Swedish, like mirror, bed, nightstand, child. Just put a sticky note on their forehead. Last but not least, the funny thing about learning a new language, like I said before, it's like you're starting on a kid's level, right? And so there's so many TV shows and movies for kids, right? Why not use that to your advantage? And also at the same time, you can share your culture. So for example, in the beginning of our relationship, I showed a lot of Astrid Lindgren stuff to Nick. Maybe you've heard of her. She's a really famous author. She was the author of Pippi Longstocking. But Emil i Lönneberga is one of my favorites that I showed Nick, and he loves him. He calls him Oatmeal because that's how see the whole like impression thing again, right? He hears Emil and he thinks oatmeal. That's his way of remembering the name. Anything on a more advanced level than that, it's going to be way too complicated for someone new to this language to understand. And Nick loves it, and I would basically translate the whole entire movie as we're watching it. And if there's something happening in the movie that I didn't have time to translate, I would just pause it so I didn't have to stress, and I would just tell him what just happened. Like, you know, he can see obviously what happens, so he has that context, but you know, I would tell him what the people said, maybe not every single word, but I would translate in general. this is not going to help him learn, you know, long sentences, but he's going to get, you know, that ear for it. He's going to, you know, he's going to learn how to pick up Swedish and what it sounds like. And you would think that it would be really, really hard and annoying for me to sit there and translate a whole movie, but it's like I said, I share my culture. This is a huge part of my childhood. I still watch those movies to this day. Like, I don't care. And so to show him that was so much fun that the time just flew by. Hopefully this was helpful if you're trying to teach your partner Swedish. I should also mention, actually, here's the little bonus tip. Last year I found a website. I gotta look up what it's called. Link down below again, sorry. It's so good. Like, there's these people who make these illustrations, and basically they create a game every single Christmas, and every year there's a different area in the world that they're focusing on. And last year was the Nordic area, basically like Sweden, Norway, you know, those areas. And they made an advent calendar. Every year it's an advent calendar, and then you click on the game, on all these little numbers, you know, whatever date it is, and something shows up, like a little story about how you celebrate Christmas in the Nordic countries, or a recipe of something that you can eat or make. It's really cute, and it's totally for kids, but it doesn't matter. Me and Nick loved it. Like, all the Christmas music they were playing, and the illustrations were beautiful. I still have this thing on my computer because I think it's so awesome. You could like decorate your own Christmas tree or whatever. So I'm gonna link that below, because I think you can actually download the old games, and it's only like, what was it, $5? It was so cheap. Like, really do it if you want to like learn more about the culture and just sit together and have a good time, especially if you have kids. They're gonna love it. You can download all the other old games too, I think. So check it out. I don't know what theme they're gonna have this year, but I'm definitely gonna look at it. We'll see if I download it again or not, since it's not gonna be about Sweden probably. Okay, I'm trying to make this as short of a video as possible, but I hope you got as much out of it as I wanted you to. So have a good day. Bye!